Since you guys voted for it on Twitch, today we're going to take a look at my top 10 low-level runewords. In other words, great runewords that you can equip at or before level 30. This is not only good for your new characters, but it also means that every rune required for these is easily farmable at or before Nightmare Countess, meaning they will make some of the best pieces of equipment to reliably get until you find your mid to late game gear. Do you have a favorite that I didn't list here, or one that you think should have been ranked higher? Tell me in the comments down below. Number 10, Edge. Probably one of the more quirky choices on my list. Edge is a fun little runeword that only barely scrapes in on this list because one of the extremely hard to find modifiers on it, paired with the ability that falls into the I want to be quirky weird category. Namely, it's here for all you gambling addicts with its 15% reduction to vendor prices, and for the few people who are still desperate to find a way to make thorns properly useful late game, because, well, while nothing can do that, really, it's still fun to try. Number 9, Peace. The only class armor runeword that is, well, low enough level requirement for this list, Peace is actually fairly nice in the early to mid game, especially considering how cheap it is to make. While mostly useful for early Amazon, since you can slap 1 point into Valkyrie to make the minion summon permanent, it does have some nice stats compared to other similarly low level armors, with faster hit recovery, crit strike skill points that work for any class, not to mention that it will still summon a temporary Valkyrie for non-Amazon classes. All this with runes easily found from about Act 4 normal onward. Number 8. Ancient's Pledge. The only reason this runeword is positioned this low on the list is because 2 other, better shield runewords exist. That said, the shield is still quite good, especially considering the runes for it are handed to you as a quest reward in Act 5 normal. Well, it's given you to Act 5 in every difficulty. But it gives amazing resists, only really beaten out by a 3 perfect diamond shield early on, or by things that are way more expensive later on. So it's fairly standard to kind of see this floating around on a bunch of new characters, and I think it deserves that position. Number 7, Strength. While often overshadowed by its big brother Black, and while it lacks the raw on-weapon damage that Black has as well, Strength is a powerhouse in its own right, with 25% crushing blow, a pinch of life leech, and the ability to be placed in any melee weapon rather than just, well, mace-type weapons. And best of all, no knockback. This makes it able to punch holes in most enemies without a sweat, and it's unfortunate that it doesn't get more love. It really should. Number 6, Malice. Now we're likely moving into the more commonly used runewords with a universally good melee weapon runeword. It goes on all the melee weapons, which is, well, one of those runewords that a lot of seasoned players use at low levels but never really talk about. Where Strength gets its power from Crushing Blow, Malice steps in with the damage over time of Bleed, alongside a host of other fairly useful skills. It's easily one of the best early weapons for barbarians and mercenaries especially, since even if you're having trouble hitting, it will still continually be causing damage to your foes. Just watch out for the life drain, since if you forget about it, it can be mildly irritating if you're using it on a character that doesn't have any sort of replenished life on them. Number 5, Leaf. This staff runeword was made kind of hard to position for me since I use it a ton in a variety of different characters, but does favor my personal playstyle, so I moved it down a bit to be fair. Leaf is one of those powerhouse runewords with a strong +3 skill ability, a single resist, and some mana per kill. While it does perform insanely well for sorceresses, since it gives even more plus skills because, well, they can get plus skills on the staff, the fact that it has a blanket boost to fire skills also makes it useful to the assassin and druid, especially with their fire skills. Also, fun fact, it will also actually boost things like Corpse Explosion, Holy Fire, and Fire Golem. So there are fire skills on a lot of characters. Number 4, Lore. Our first and only helmet runeword on this list, Lore is useful for almost any character, thanks to plus skills, lightning resist, damage reduction, and a bit of help on the mana end of things. Not to mention it can be put in a druid or barbarian helmet to sneak in a few extra plus skills if you happen to find one early on that has those. This helmet runeword marks the start of the items that it's not abnormal to beat hell difficulty with while on your first character or even 2. Number 3, Rhyme. An easily obtained and exceptionally useful shield runeword. Rhyme provides you with several highly desirable stats: 25% resist all, a bit of magic find, faster block rate, and most important of all, cannot be frozen. This runeword is pretty much my go-to for early magic finding gear on most characters, if not their actual main gear. It's just so useful on so many characters. Number 2, Insight. A weird runeword that can actually go into staves, but generally is found in polearms, and well, that's it. It provides a nice boost to mana recovery through providing a meditation aura, and it has some okay melee boosts, although nothing special really to write home about. You'll generally find these plastered on the Act 2 mercenaries even in the late game, as the mana regen is a huge boost. This only gets second place because it's more of a great mercenary weapon and not so hot on player characters, because there are so many better options there. A little fun fact about the meditation though, if you put it on a prayer mercenary, you actually get double prayer because synergies. Number 1. I think you all saw this coming, but the number 1 low-level rune word is hands down Spirit. Faster cast rate plus skills, some mana and vitality, an excellent, reliably obtainable sword and shield. Yeah, it's not Heart of the Oak, but it's also a fraction of the price. Can be made in early Nightmare out of runes that are easily found from the Countess, in a broadsword that almost any character can equip if they can equip basic boots. Also, it can be put into a shield, as I said, and a sword, as opposed to Heart of the Oak, which can only go into, well, maces. So for double the spirit, double the fun, you can just go with this and have +4 skills, and if you're really lucky, 70% faster cast rate. The only real big downside is that it's ladder only, but there's a reason why I've made so many of them over the years. They're just priceless. Now, some of the other ones on here were ladder only, but this is the one that I'm saddest about. And if you found any of this interesting or fun, or you actually disagree with any of them, comment down below, like, dislike if you have to, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.